The most common profession that I see in the female parties in my divorces, and this is over 13 years of
Drum roll,
cases.
please.
Oh my God, I'm so nervous. Is stay-at-home mom.
They got your soap operas, right? Romanticizing love, and as you're slaving at home with these children, look at these examples of love while your husband is outside probably porking the secretary. All right, guys, y'all looking at the thumbnail, y'all looking at the title of the video, y'all already know what time it is. It is time to get active. Guys, a local divorce attorney has been going viral on TikTok regarding the advice she has been giving out. And I heard that immediately, and I said to myself, oh, a divorce attorney giving advice. This is something I need to listen to. Within this, she gives a bunch of advice. One of the things that she talks about is the type of spouse that men should avoid getting married to. Without further ado,
I went through my case list, and there's about 60 cases on my case list. And there are some common professions that I see in women. The most common one that I see is teacher. The second most common is nurse. But those cases are not cases where the female is really difficult or litigious or anything like that. They're just kind of run-of-the-mill cases. The most common profession that I see in the female parties in my divorces, and this is over 13 years of
drum
cases.
roll, please.
Oh my God, I'm so nervous. Is stay-at-home mom.
Uh-oh.
Hate me. I know y'all are gonna hate me, but let me explain why.
The truth will cause hate.
Number one, when you're divorcing a stay-at-home mom, they are paralyzed with fear. And rightfully so.
Yes.
Because their whole life is going to change. They're
dependent
going to
upon
have
you.
to go back to the workforce. They're going to have to possibly move. Their finances are about to be very different. There's lots of things that they don't know financially about what's going on. And so they tend to stick their head in the sand and stall. And so the cases become very contested and very expensive. The second reason that I see that stay-at-home moms end up being the most common profession in a divorce is that I think there's a tendency, and this is completely my opinion, just based on my observations, they tend to focus so much on the children, and the husband focuses so much on career that they first of all, they don't feel appreciated by one another. But the husband starts feeling like an ATM, and the wife becomes completely focused on the children, and they tend to grow apart. So I think that's why it's the most common. That's not hate, just an observation. It's probably my last TikTok. So see ya.
All right, so what do we learn right there? Not only are stay-at-home mothers the most frequent, but then it's the most expensive, okay? And I think the frequency makes a lot of sense. Now, she said the husband begins to feel like a wallet, and the reason why he feels like a wallet is because how the wife is treating him, right? Like, so if the wife is treating the husband correctly and appropriately, then he wouldn't just feel like a wallet, okay? When you're a stay-at-home mother, what else happens what she didn't get through, all right? You're watching your daytime talk show TV shows, right? And they're talking about what you deserve as a woman, as you're slaving at home, taking care of the chitlins, right? They got shows talking about men ain't shit, right? Pandering to their emotions. They got shows talking about, well, Jenny over here got divorced from Brad, and now look at Jenny, and now look at her life. Not talking about how much of an outlier that Jenny is, right? They got your telenovelas. They got your soap operas, right? Romanticizing love, and as you're slaving at home with these children, look at these examples of love while your husband is outside probably porking the secretary, right? And they set up all of these grandiose, dramatic, illusionary shit. And she's gonna wanna break free after a while. So she causes you pain. She causes you torment. She causes bullshit within your life. And you go back home and you start to see that the obligations are not being fulfilled. You're beginning to see that the kids are dirty. They're not fed and shit. Where's my food? Where's the foot rubs that you used to give me? back into the day that got me here in the first place, that got me to sign up to give you a goddamn pension plan. Where are the things now? Oh, because the kids are here now. I can't get them now. I can't get that. 100% is on the chilling. Well, guess what? I feel like a wallet. So she gets disgruntled and she decides to make your life a living hell. All right. And then what happens? Well, 80% of women initiate the divorce. Okay. And not only is she going to initiate it, but as soon as she gets in contact with a lawyer and an understanding that, oh, wait a minute, I'm entitled to have his shit. Oh, okay. Let's make his life a living hell. And I want the kids.
My last videos have sparked some interesting discussion about different types of marriage dynamics and what works and what doesn't. And so one of the more common ones that was asked about was a situation where a woman earns more money than the man and what that situation looks like. So I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why I think that marriages where women earn more than men or where men don't work. Number 1 is, as I mentioned in my last video, men need to feel valued. And I think that when women earn more than men, it has a tendency to emasculate men. I think that they are ingrained within the society to think, I have to earn, I have to provide, right? Men are hunters and gatherers and they're supposed to provide. And I think that
she says it's ingrained within society, and then she goes back to hunters and gatherers, which is speaking from an evolutionary perspective. So I agree with her, though. There's a bit of nature versus nurture kind of argument in there, but I think the answer is that it's both. It's both from a societal, cultural perspective, the nurture, and it's also from an evolutionary perspective as well, the nature. But I think that without understanding that, then you won't understand why guys don't care about how much money that you make and why guys tend to date down, okay? And if you go against that fabric, it's not to say that it won't work. Shit, I know personal examples in my life where, you know, the woman is a corporate ranking executive making a shit ton of money, and then the guy did okay within his career, right? Maybe retired early, but the guy had to make allowances because maybe they took a look at the trajectory of the two of them and said, well, I'm okay at this level. Let her go and do that shit. And I've seen these things actually work, but they are by far the outlier. Let's keep going.
it kind of upsets the natural balance for the woman to be carrying that weight, because sorry to say this, but a lot of women who work also carry a lot of weight in the home. So I think that adds to it. So even regardless of whether or not you have kids, I think a woman carrying more of the financial weight not only tends to emasculate the man, but also can cause more resentment to build in a woman that would build in a man in the reverse situation where the man is the higher income earner. So that's number one. Number two.
Let me also touch on that as well. And the thing is like what we also talk about is kind of these independent career boss chicks. However dope that y'all may be, but the personality that it takes for you to be that from, going into work and doing your thing perspective, if you are unable to turn off that switch and then go back into the household with that same shit, which I will admit is a tough thing to do, to be able to have that switch. I get it. It's difficult. Okay. But for those of you that don't master it, what happens is what I tell y'all guys before, women are built for verbal warfare. And a guy that's picking up that slack is oftentimes still also looking for peace. So he's not in his space to deal with the mouth, the consistent and pointed mouth of an alpha woman consistently over years. It's not how we're programmed. We're programmed to lead. This is how you get these men on the couch that just become corpses of their former selves, corpses of their former glory, and zombies of where they used to be. That's how. Okay. Now, I'm not taking blame off of dudes as well. There are some dudes that are just lazy from the get-go, right? But we hold those dudes accountable as well.
The men in these situations that are married to high-powered women, a lot of times, in the ones that I've seen fail, the men tend to be very, for lack of a better word, not motivated. They tend to be, they might be educated, but they don't tend to work very hard. They don't really seem to have a passion for anything. They tend to be lazy, and they tend to kind of rely on the woman to run the household. I mean, she does the bills, she does the finances, she takes care of the kids if there are any. she kind of is the CEO of the household. They just don't seem to really contribute much. It's the opposite of a traditional stay-at-home mom dynamic where the mom is running the household and the husband is working every day and paying for the expenses. The woman in that situation tends to do it all. And so I just think that over time it just weighs on her and she's just like, I'm out of here.
Rightfully
or
so.
The man will cheat, as in my last video. And then finally, what's really interesting about these divorces is they tend to be the cheapest. Women who are the breadwinners, they're protecting their money. I mean, men do too, but not like the women do.
Women, yeah.
And they tend to really push their husbands behind the scenes to settle. They tend to have to pay
for verbal warfare,
bill, and they don't want to pay that bill.
Trying to tell you,
keep the process really streamlined and
guys just want peace. They trying to take that bag to the end of the earth without you. I'm trying to tell y'all, they built for verbal warfare, right? If they've earned it, they gonna take it. They're not gonna settle for peace like most men would. Now notice what she said in that last part of the segment, is that the guys tend to become lazy. And I think that's because you're disturbing the natural order of the masculine and the feminine, right? You got the woman who's now locked in, she's driven, right? She's like, femininity where? And you got the guy who doesn't have a purpose. And there's nothing worse than seeing a purposeless dude who's just chilling. And because the natural order is discombobulated, he just chills. So I think what this divorce lawyer is demonstrating provides further evidence that the order should be established. Now, it doesn't mean that women should not work, obviously, as in that first video. And for all you dudes that want to sign up for that, keep doing y'all thing, but as long as y'all understand the risk, those are the ones that are the highest frequency and the most cost to you, okay? So if there's no skill set that she had no talent, she ain't had no job before that, she came in there dirt broke, just keep all of that in mind. So all y'all that say, I'd rather choose the woman that work at McDonald's versus the career-oriented women, just understand the potential risks to yourself. At the same time, though, for all the dudes that want to get married, I think that there's a smooth, even ground within all of that. You know what I'm saying? There's really not much things in this world today that, you know, you can go on the extreme at and, you know, it'd be really good for you. I mean, shit, drinking water. You drink too much water, you get water poisoning. You don't drink enough, you die of dehydration. Somewhere right in the middle is generally where you need to be. All right, but shout out to this lawyer. I'll leave a link to her TikTok down below so you guys can go check out all the information that's out on her channel. But I appreciated what she was spitting. Questions, comments, concerns? Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. You guys agree with the things that was been said? If not, all of that, put it down in the comment box down below. Make sure you put in the timestamp so I know exactly which portion of the video you're talking about. Last but not least, I got a Patreon. Click the link, beam up, see all the dope things that we have in store. Come and join the inner sanctum, the inner community, the MT Army. And we'll see you soon, all right? Until next time, YouTube.